Honestly, the reason I'm an astronomer today is because of Wallace Observatory.
It's my favorite place in the world. Every time that I go there, all my problems just disappear.
I think there was just something really magical about controlling this huge telescope and knowing that the photons going through it are coming from the biggest stars in the universe. Around an hour-long drive from the main MIT campus, in the woods of Westford, Massachusetts, lives the Wallace Astrophysical Observatory. Established in 1971, Wallace is a teaching and research observatory under MIT's Department of Earth, Atmospheric, and Planetary Sciences. Before the construction of Wallace, MIT was already at the forefront of research in X-ray, radio, and radar astronomy, but it had no dedicated facility to train new astronomers. And in the 1960s and 70s, when the Apollo program inspired even more students to become astronomers, the need for a teaching observatory became even more pressing.
MIT's requirements to service all the undergraduates who are now interested were multiplied by like a factor of 10 in just a couple of years. So we needed not only to train a whole bunch of new astronomers, but we needed to provide them with facilities where they could actually learn the craft, actually use telescopes, use instruments, gather data. So the 70s were about the right time for MIT to acquire its own observatory.
When Wallace was established, it was at the forefront of astronomy technology, being one of the first completely automated telescopes in the world. The research in telescope controls and data handling at Wallace aimed to significantly increase observing efficiency. But there were a few hiccups along the way.
Tom McCoy, the original director, told me about the day of the opening on October 14th, 1971, which was, they had all the press here and MIT VIPs and the president and so on. They were excited because this was, I believe, the second third computer-controlled telescope in the world. They're very excited. And they went to go turn it on and nothing happened. And it turns out, because everything was carpeted in here, a few hours prior to the event to get ready, the custodian had vacuumed and unplugged the entire computer system to plug in the vacuum, and they couldn't figure out why, so it was just power. And it worked fine, but that was a little embarrassing, apparently.
Despite having an interesting first day, Wallace went on to contribute to MIT's research in astronomy. In its more than 50 years of existence, Wallace has been a testbed for new astronomy instruments. It has also been the site for some important discoveries.
We've had a number of important discoveries and ongoing projects here at Wallace. For instance, the fact that asteroid families tend to have their spin vectors aligned was discovered here at Wallace. We made the original predictions that led to the occultations where we discovered Pluto's atmosphere, and a lot of the early exoplanet transit work was done here.
Now, the observatory has come full circle. In 1971, it was fully automated, but as technology progressed, Wallace lost some of its automation capabilities. But now, in 2023, Wallace is not only fully automated, it can also be controlled remotely.
If you're running things remotely, you're sort of flying blind. You can't see the stars, you can't see whether there's clouds, but all of this information here in these graphs tell you a story about what's happening here right now. But it also feeds into the sensors, so even if I fall asleep, the dome controller, for example, will know that the weather went bad and it will start closing things up safely.
While Wallace has indeed contributed to MIT's research mission, its true impact lies in how it inspires MIT students to look up to the sky.
Wallace Observatory has a joint research and education mission, but for our education mission, we mostly focus on attempting to train the next generation of astronomers. There's a lot we can teach them in the classroom and using computers, etc., but you really have to get outside under the sky to truly understand how the stars move through the sky, how the sky works. And you have to use a telescope to be able to understand the data you get from telescopes, rather than just processing data you get from somewhere else.
Every year, around a dozen students take 12410, an advanced laboratory class, while around 20 to 30 students take 12409, an introduction to astronomical observation. Among these students is the observatory director himself.
Fall of my senior year, I took the class 12410, and they brought me out to Wallace Observatory here. And that's when it all started to fall together for me. I immediately knew I wanted to be an observational astronomer. Honestly, the reason I'm an astronomer today is because of Wallace Observatory.
Wallace also hosts students for more intensive summer research projects.
It was basically planning and executing a lot of observations for many projects, one of which became one of my friend's thesis. 3 papers came out of that. It was literally just going almost every single day, every week, to Wallace and spending the whole night operating the telescopes and troubleshooting everything. It's my favorite place in the world. I don't know. Every time that I go there, all my problems just disappear and I'm there.
MIT is typically associated with flashy research and big projects, but much meaningful work comes out of the smaller facilities. Places like Wallace Astrophysical Observatory, where stars are bright and astronomers are born.